Hi, my name is Leslie Bennett, and I am the founder of the Mind, Body, Spirit Reset program. And I am so excited to share with Pearl today.
Hello, sunshine, good to see you again. Had to walk out to let you back in. Stuck in a storm of a relationship. Lost my fire. Oh, and I forgot about me for way too long. But it's rolled on. Now there ain't no shade around here. Once you leave the clouds, you're under. Ain't it funny how there ain't no rain or clean? Why'd it take so long to leave you in the rearview mirror? Now nobody gonna steal my sunshine or turn my blue sky gray. All I know is at the end of the day, wildflowers grow when they.
Hey everybody, it's Pearl. Welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Pearl. We are so excited to be here today, and I have a special guest. And you guys know I'm all about resetting your body, making sure you've got your body in tune and taking care of yourself. And that's what we're talking about today is those things. Like, how do you take care of yourself? And so our guest today is Leslie Bennett, and she is the founder of the Mind, Body, Spirit Reset program. Grace Studio is her professional home studio where she offers in-person and online movement and meditation classes, which I love meditation. You guys know that. Her program was designed for women who are entering new chapters of their lives, whether it's a new job, new baby, new city, maybe a divorce, empty nesting, or anything else that might be coming up to change your life, who want to leverage this time for massive healing and personal growth. Throughout her integrated practice of energy work, movement, meditation, mindfulness techniques, and reflection, Leslie guides women who are feeling lost, stuck, or overwhelmed and underwhelmed come out on top, feeling empowered, calm, centered, and inspired for that road ahead. Her mission is to help women prioritize ourselves, gain clarity around their hopes, dreams, and goals. She says, wherever you are on your journey, she is here to offer her support, challenge you, and inspire you as you move into this next chapter of your life. She has a dual bachelor's in dance and communication from University of Iowa, a NASM CPT, Yoga Moves certified meditation teacher, and owner of the Grace Studio in Springfield. So welcome to the show, Leslie. Great to have you today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
We are so excited to have you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you coming in from? And I'm in Connecticut right now, and it's snowing outside. So tell us what your weather's like.
We're in Nashville, right outside of Nashville. So the weather here, you never know. If you don't like the weather, just wait 10 minutes. That's what they say. It changes all the time. So
Sounds
today
like
it's a
my
little chilly.
sounds like my hometown of Tampa, Florida. I left last week and it was like 29 degrees, and when I'm gone, it's hit to 82 and 90% humidity. So it's just crazy.
You never know what to wear.
I know. So Leslie, tell us: are you married? Children? Tell us about your personal life.
I'm happily married, a wonderful man named Mark, and I have a beautiful daughter named Harlow. She's 5, and I live right across the street from my parents, and they moved here last year so I could be their primary caretaker. So my dad is 87, my mom is 81. So that is a new, that's been an experience I've had for the past year. So this topic that we're talking about is super important to me because self-care is super important if you're a caregiver as well. So
Wow. Yeah. So you've got a 5-year-old and yeah. So I totally get that. I've got friends that are doing the same thing with journeying around, taking care of their family. And I'm looking at possibly my mom coming to stay with us soon. And wow. And I have to tell you, your parents, do they have a lot of other kids? Because you look awful young to have parents at 87 years old.
thank you. I'm 44 and my brother's 6 years older. And I just take care of myself, really. Thank you. I appreciate it. I work out a lot and I try to eat pretty well. So
she's a practice what she preaches, sounds like, kind of
yeah.
girl. So you guys are in for a great treat today. So
Thank you.
Leslie, so tell us how you started on this journey of what you offer your clients today, and where did that come from? Like, was there something that happened in your life that said, I need to make a change, and this is where your path started?
Well, looking back now, you kind of see how all of the pieces of my life led to this. if that makes sense. So, the journey started from day one, but when it became really obvious to me, I was a personal trainer here out of my home. And I started that business about 6 years ago. And honestly, about a month after I found out I was pregnant. So, right around that time, I started my personal training business. And I knew, I had been teaching fitness for a long time, been teaching group fitness and things. And I knew I wanted to offer personal training, but that was never really the goal. I was never like this, I'm a personal trainer. I was like this and something else. I didn't know what that looked like. I was really into wellness, but I didn't know. And when I got pregnant, um, it was kind of a surprise. I wasn't planning. And when I found out, I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? I think, it was my instinct to just meditate on that baby. I wasn't really a meditator before, but I just felt really called to bring my energy down to a calm, healing, loving environment for this thing inside of me, this life. And so I think my meditation really started when I got pregnant because I wanted to just have that energy transfer. I want to have that connection. And I want to have, protect this thing. And so that's when it started. When I got pregnant was meditation. And then it just kind of evolved from there, and then I started doing a little bit of meditation with my clients. I wasn't certified yet. Just with a couple clients, didn't really just dip my toe. And then once COVID hit, like so many of us, right? We're all locked in to our homes. And so that's when I really decided to go inward. And then I started meditating like a lot, hours a day. And then I decided to get certified in meditation because it was just life changing for me. So that was
Wow.
the beginning.
Wow, and that's kind of what it's been like for many people over the past few years. It's like you start that you got to think of what else am I going to do with this whole pivot we've had. And I think it's really beautiful. So I never knew how to meditate. I met a amazing lady online. Her name is Sharon RG, and she and I connected during COVID. She was having a mental wellness weekend and she needed a speaker. And I was like, hey, I love to speak. She's in Canada and she's like, you don't even know me. I'm like, I just think it's a great subject. It's so important that we take care of ourselves. And I had never meditated before. So then about 2 years ago, I took her course to learn how to meditate. And I just love it. I'm like, where was that all my life? And I love that you decided to do that. Like as you're bringing a child into this world, I just interviewed somebody, her name is Martha, a few hours ago today. And she is a coach that helps you with PTSD. And also she shared how during her pregnancy, that PTSD and postpartum depression was happening during her pregnancy. And I was just sitting here thinking, I'm going to connect you to it because I think having that meditation during pregnancy, I bet you just like can calm some nerves and probably just brought you some peace as you're going, our body goes through all kinds of changes when we're pregnant. And so to have that tool for yourself, I think is so, so powerful. And so then you go off and you get that certification. So now you're doing this, you're on this path, you've done your certification. What made you decide to bring it out? What were you seeing out in our world that you were like, you know what, more people need this? How did that happen and how did you start growing your business?
Well, it was really a personal journey first. And then I would see, in some of my clients, just that were personal training clients, a lack of self-love, pinching their bodies, looking at the fat, not being, and I'd be like, look at yourself in the mirror and like, let's look at ourselves in the mirror and just tell yourself that you love yourself. Let's start there. And I had clients who are like, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. And I was like, wow. So I really just I saw a necessity, it's so necessary for us to love ourselves. And I could see it in, even before I was on this journey, women are so tough on themselves. We beat ourselves up. We're so like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. We compare ourselves. So there was a lot of that, and you just see that as a woman your whole life. So that's where it started. But I really went through a big healing journey myself. So through the meditation, I learned to just, sit and listen. And I did in the beginning lots of guided meditation. I still love guided meditation. But then I got to a point where I would just sit and listen for hours, and a lot of the trauma would come out from childhood, all that stuff. And started to follow some people, online that gave, kind of steered me in a direction of how to reparent myself, how to go through all these different areas of self-love and healing. And then I kind of just went through this huge journey. It was like 4 years of intensive, journaling and meditation and movement. And then I decided to use my body as a tool because I'm a dancer to move my energy. And it's as simple and as profound as when I was angry to punch a punching bag, when I was scattered to sit in stillness, and listen to my breath, when I was angry, when I was upset, just letting myself cry or journal. So it's just this idea of moving my energy that was so therapeutic. So all of these tools I was using, and I was honestly just felt called to create this program that was helping myself. I was just seeing such major progress in my own life. And I had visions of this program for 4 years before I even really started doing it with other people. So it's been my own journey that I kind of solidified into something that is now an offering. So
I just, so you said so much there. I want to unpack some of that because so that was amazing. So first of all, I want the listeners to understand, and the women that are listening, did you hear a few different things there? First of all, Leslie talked about journaling. How many often do I say here, you need to journal, you need to let the thoughts out, you need to release it. And then how she talked about how, Leslie, you calm your body down. There's things we do that, and journaling can be that piece that lets you calm that body down, lets you calm those thoughts down. And then also near the end there, she talked about how she knew this was something she wanted to do. So I talk often about manifesting. So manifesting what you want and seeing yourself doing that. How many times have you listened to the show, everybody? And I've said, where are you at? 1 year from now, 6 months from now, 1 month from now, where are you at? And that's exactly what I love that you're sharing, Leslie. And that's what I talk about all the time for those that know is I have what's called the Shiro League. And we meet every Sunday evening from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern time. We talk about these things. We talk about how life can get crazy. Life is not perfect. If anybody is out there as a coach and telling people you live your life 100% what you teach, please stop, because it's not true. Because I'm sure if I ask Leslie, which I'm going to ask her right now, life's not perfect every day, right?
absolutely not.
Right. So we have to use, as Leslie does, and I do, use those tools to help us to get through the challenges that arise to us. And so Leslie, I just love that you shared those different tips are so powerful, because when we can be stewards of our self-care, when we can learn to put ourselves first and use some of these tools that Leslie has shared, our life it's not going to be perfect, but it can be so much more peaceful. And so, Leslie, what I want to know is when you're working with your clients, what are some of the top 3 things that you're seeing? We've come through COVID. You created this during COVID. Now we've come out of COVID and we still are dealing with things to do with COVID. But what are you seeing? Would you say you're seeing the most struggle? Wait a minute. Before I do that, I want to go back to something. It just made me think. You talked about pinching themselves, the women that came in pinching themselves. I don't want to forget that. That was one note I just wrote. I don't know if you follow Megan Trainor, but Megan Trainor, and for the listeners that know, she just recently had a baby in the past year or so. And she shared after she had her child, she felt fat. She felt like she couldn't get rid of the baby fat. She was very negative and very down on herself. And I love what you did, Leslie. This is why I thought about it, is her counselor told her, you're going to stand in front of the mirror every single day about 6 feet away. And you're going to look in that mirror and you're going to find something about yourself that you love. Naked. You're going to stand in front of the mirror naked. And Megan was like pissed at her. She was like, heck no, am I not doing that? And the therapist was like, you're going to do it. And Megan said the first, I think, week or maybe 2 weeks, it was horrible. Like she did not like looking at herself. And I get it. None of us don't like to look. We can all find flaws in ourselves. But here's the deal, that something that she did I thought was so beautiful. She kept pushing through. And finally, by the end, I think end of second week, into the third week, she was finding things she loved about herself. She was finding love in the role. She was finding love in the scars she had on her body. And I just loved it, Leslie. You said, let's go stand in front of the mirror. Who are you within? Because we're not just who we are on the outside. We're inside. We
These
have
are
something
temporary
beautiful.
meat suits.
Right.
Mm-mm.
I love that. Say that again.
A temporary meat suit.
Yes, I just love that. So, Leslie, I just think it's so powerful you did that. And I think if women will just let you and others and themselves look in that mirror and just find one thing they love about themselves and just work on that one thing and say how much you love it every morning. I know that because our thoughts become things, right? And then we can start realizing that we are beautiful. So I'm going to go back to that question I started to ask you. And that is, what are you seeing right now as you're working with your clients? What are some of the top things that you're seeing? Because I know you're a mom, and I know many moms had to become teachers and had to become the stewards of the house while they're maybe working as well. And balancing all that during COVID was very overwhelmed. So now that we're coming out and the kids are starting to get back to that normal school, what are some of the top things that you're seeing now and as you're helping your clients?
Well, my clients usually are women that are going through some sort of transition. So I have like an empty nester. I have someone who just recovered from cancer. I have someone who's going through a divorce. So usually big transitions. And it doesn't matter what phase, pretty much all of us have to work on self-love. And I kind of want to touch back on what you were saying before about the weight and the pinching and all that. I also struggled with eating. I've been every size from a 0 to a 10. I understand that battle 100%. And so the weight loss journey then turned into a self-love journey. And all of us have a self-love journey of some sort. Even if you're the most beautiful woman in the world, I promise you, there's an insecurity there. So, and in my program and so many other wonderful therapists like the one that Megan Trainor has, that is a huge part of looking in the mirror and saying, I love myself. Find 5 things that you love about yourself. And I'll make you do it, so it's a 10-week program. I'll make you do it. I'll say, today, go do mirror affirmations. You have 10 mirror affirmations. Then we're going to go on a walk. You're going to listen to your positive affirmations, meditation. So every single day for 10 weeks, I tell you exactly what you're going to do. You're going to do this workout. You're going to tell yourself you love yourself. You're going to journal about this, and so it's totally spelled out. There's no guesswork. Push play, do what I tell you to do. But it's all the stuff that needs to be done. It's like, oh yeah, I know I need to do that. But unless somebody tells you to do it, sometimes we won't do it, and that's what I wanted to make, is this like foolproof system. Just do what I tell you to do. If you do it, it will be just like Megan Trainor, it takes a couple weeks, it can be really challenging, looking at yourself sometimes in the mirror, but it's absolutely worth it. So anyway, everybody has self-love. Some people, depending on the situation, some people have trust issues from divorce. Some people, everyone's situation is a little different, but self-love is definitely the common thread, I would say.
And
And also self-regulation, I would say.
Oh, that's a good one.
Self-regulation. And that's my thing also. So I just want to say that I also have struggled with, anger. Like just when I think I'm so enlightened, couldn't be happier. Everything is perfect. I was at my very peak and I was like, I am on top of the world. And then I got the phone call a year ago to come take care of my parents. My dad fell. My mom's like, come out to Arizona. What do we do? And it was in the middle of COVID. And so I was like, I can't put you in a nursing home, in the middle of COVID, and you're not able to take care of yourself. And they lived all the way in Arizona. So I was like, let's sell this house. I moved them in with me until I could figure out what to do with them. And just when you're talking about manifestation, I'm a big manifestation person. It's all part of self-mastery, So manifestation is just one of the components of self-mastery. And I manifested a house across the street that went for sale that my parents purchased. And I did it in like 3 days. And I absolutely, if people haven't experienced the power of manifestation, it's absolutely a real thing. And I've done it time and time again with so many things. So it's not a fluke. Once you put it into practice multiple times, it's not a fluke. So anyway, that self-regulation piece is huge for a lot of us too. Just having the tools when you're triggered, noticing your triggers, and that could be triggers with food. It could be triggers with other people. If you have narcissists in your life, that's a big one for a lot of people. So everyone has different triggers. So then it's understanding what your triggers are, being able to, harness your energy, take a deep breath to figure out, what tools and tricks work for you. So those are other things that a lot of clients find super helpful, and just the self-regulation of daily life, because everyone's going to be triggered with something, there's so
Yeah.
much crazy happening.
There's so much crazy that happens. And I like the self-regulation then the self-love, because especially as women, we forget that piece. We think, we grew up, I'm 58 years old. I grew up where it was the mom took care of everything. And I was very independent. At 14 years old, I had my own job. I was like, I want to do things that I want to do. And so, we struggled to have children. And after 10 years of trying, our oldest son was born of our hearts. And then 3 years later, through infertility, we had our younger son, Nate, and he's now 23. And unfortunately, we lost our son. So when you talk about changes, we lost our son last year in July at 25 years old. So we have a forever 25-year-old son. And when I saw when you talk about being on a podcast, the reason why it struck me was because we do go through these changes. We have unexpected things. And, and right now you've got your parents. I'm looking at possibly my mom having to come out, be with us for a little bit as well. And, we have to be able to self-love ourselves and self-manage that stuff as those things happen. And if we don't, and we end up in that rabbit hole of, oh, woe is me. Why always me? Why does it happen to me? And, and it's not healthy.
Change your
for us.
self-talk.
Right.
Change your self-talk.
Yeah, totally. We got to change that self-talk, which is what Leslie's talking with us today about. And it's so imperative because, I have a friend that she's like, everything happens to me. I go, so what good happened to you today? Like when people tell me that, I'm like, so what good happened to you today? How was it positive? How did that, give me something positive? Because I'm always, believing I've always been a glass full person, not half empty. And it's to the point that I've talked here often is that one of the things I've had many people say, I can't believe that you're back doing the things you do already. I hold a retreat. I did my son passed in July. I had my retreat in September. I'm still doing these podcasts and my coaching. And I tell people it's because, yeah, rightfully so. If I told you I want to sit and be depressed in my bed all day, you'd probably say, well, I get it. I understand it. But why am I going to live differently? Matt's not here than what I lived when he was here, because that's not who I am in my DNA. And that's not who I believe. I'm not going to benefit myself if I stay in bed. And those that are in that spot, I understand. I totally understand where you're coming from. And it's hard to lose a loved one and to go through that. And what you share is like that self-regulating, that self-love. We have to love ourselves first, because if we don't, we can't take care of our parents that are living across the street from us, our moms that might have to move into us, or maybe you have a child that has special needs that for the rest of their life, they're going to be with you, or just taking care of your family in general. If you don't do something for yourself, and we talk about this here all the time on the show, we talk about in the Shira League about how you put yourself first and how do you show up? How do you find joy in your life? I always say, what's the joy in your life? And somebody will go, well, this and this happened. No. What goods happen? Like change the thought of all these bad things. And Leslie, I love that you're sharing that. And I think it's really powerful that that's what you're coaching. And I love the hit a button. You're going to be accountable. Do these affirmations. I just think that's so amazing. Do you have an app for that?
Yeah, I do. So when you join the program, it's just an app on your phone. And
that's fantastic.
Once you do it, you check it off, complete, next. It's 10 weeks, just follow along. And every day. And some people, they don't do it in 10 weeks. Sometimes it takes 20, some people can't commit to an hour every day, and it's really go at your own pace. But, and then whenever you want to call me, I'm here and I'll help you through whatever. But, yeah. And what other thing I love is not only prioritizing, your self-care, because a lot of times I noticed in my own journey with my taking care of my parents that you're like, well, I'm just not going to do this today. I'm not going to meditate today, but I'll do it tomorrow. I'm not going to, like, you let your schedule kind of be determined by other people. And you're like, well, so I don't do date night anymore. I'm just going to, you kind of put all these other things, on the side. And then you're like, I'm just this caretaker now. But 2 weeks turns into 2 months, turns into a year. And then you realize that you start building up maybe resentment, and those other parts of your life start suffering, your other relationships, your other things. And that's what I did. I really put so many things aside. I didn't put my self-care on the forefront. I put myself on the back burner, and I found myself blowing up at my parents, yelling at people. And that's bad manners. That's unacceptable, right? It's especially as a meditation teacher, it just makes you like, what am I doing? But it's just like you cannot forget to make yourself a priority. And I know everybody says it, but even a day or 2 days, I'm going to do it later. I'm going to do it later. You have to do it every day, because you're not showing up as your best self then.
Yeah, and that's so true. I talk about that all the time here, and people, like you said, we go, "Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow." And, and it's like I actually, after I lost my son, I actually stopped meditating, only because I've meditated so well, and I've had, like, in my meditation, I seen my mother-in-law come through to me and my aunt come through to me, and I was like, I did not want to meditate because I was afraid if I got too deep, I wasn't prepared for my son to come. And those may or may not believe in it, but that's what happened to me. So now I'm at the point now where I'm like, okay, I've come in some peace, and I'm still doing self-care things. And that's what's important, is that maybe one thing you're doing at the moment, it's not serving you, and that's okay, but make sure you're doing something. Because like Leslie said, and she shared here, I love what you said that too, Leslie. It's like, we can lose a day. It can become a year. It could be 2 years. And all of a sudden, like you said, you're yelling at people. You're mad. Maybe you put on weight. All these things are happening to you because you didn't put yourself as a priority. And oftentimes we think that it's guilt. It's selfish for us to do that. Self-care is not selfish, because here's the thing. Whoever you believe in, and I believe God gave us our body and said, you've got to take care of this. I gave this to you. This is your vessel to take care of. Do with it good with it. And when we don't, then we're not able to take care of all those we love, what we do, and everything, to the ability that He wants us to. And I think it's so imperative to remember that, even if it's just like, I don't know, Leslie, like, would you agree? Like, even if it's just like 10 minutes to do something, go sit in a quiet spot. I have a swing in my front yard. I'll go sit and swing sometimes, just do something. Would you agree, Leslie?
100%. 100%. Even if it's just putting a little makeup on and taking 10 minutes just to breathe in a way that feels really, really satisfying, And for someone in your situation, God, I'm really, really sorry about the loss of your son. When just a meditation hack for you, if you have thoughts that you're afraid of thinking, because I understand that, a meditation trick you can do is you can close your eyes or just soften your gaze and just move like molasses, and slowly move your head all the way to the left and all the way to the right as slowly as humanly possible. It'll literally take you 10 minutes, sometimes just to get to the side, or 10 minutes just to get to the other side. But when you're so focused on moving microscopically slowly, you are only focusing in on what you're doing, on moving slowly, that the thoughts won't take over your mind, but you're still in a mindfulness practice that brings you so much peace. And I call it a vacation and a meditation. You do other things. You do your head up and down, and then you look up and down as your eyes go the opposite direction. And you say, but anyway, it's very interesting, but at least do this side to side super slowly when you don't want to think certain thoughts, because it still opens up your peaceful portal.
Right. I love that.
Um,
I'm going to do that. I'm going to remember that. Thank you for sharing
yeah,
that. So
yeah.
I want to know, what does Leslie do for her self care? What are some of the things, like, what are your top three things you like to do?
I have to, I love Qigong. So I bang it out every morning. I just move that energy. So sometimes I was saying I kind of have like a short fuse, or I get frustrated pretty quickly. I don't know why. That's been really in the past year or so, so just shaking, standing and shaking for like 2 minutes, really shaking and banging it out. I have like a quick little 10-minute routine that I do, where I bang out, on your liver, you hold trapped anger, on your spleen, you have resentment. On your colon, you have shame. On your bladder, you have fear. So I bang on these points, and then I bang on my chest, just to invigorate my lungs. So I just do this little Qigong routine. I breathe in a way that feels satisfying. I give myself a hug. When I get ready, I always tell myself positive affirmations. I listen to all the woo woo all the time. In my headphones as I go to sleep, I listen healing frequencies, or usually meditation, either by like Wayne Dyer, or I love Regan Hillier so much. So there's different people, but those are the main non-negotiables. I have to shake. I have to do Qigong. I always do positive affirmations, and I always listen to healing frequencies. So those are my main things. Journaling. Um, a lot of times before I even meditate, another tip if people want it, I can't just sit down right away and just meditate. My mind is a little too scattered. I got too much like to-do lists and things like pay this bill, call this person. So I'll take my journal out and I'll just brain dump all the things that I have to do. What are the things that my mind won't stop thinking about? So once I get it on paper, then I'm like, now I can let it go, and now I can meditate, right? And sometimes I don't necessarily feel like just sitting in silence. If I don't want to do a guided meditation, I can just count my breaths. So before I get out of bed, I try to count 100 breaths. I had to start over 4 times today. It's not always easy. I challenged my mother to do it. She couldn't even get to 10. She got so frustrated. It's not easy, but I challenge everyone to do it, because it forces you to make your mindfulness a priority. It trains your mind,
And it's so true. Like, when we create that, I love, so at night when I go to bed, I found on YouTube, it's the live ocean. It's like the ocean. Have you seen it? It's so
No, but I do an ocean meditation too. I love the sound of
oh
the
my
waves.
gosh, it's so powerful. And my husband's always like, how come it's always night? I go, because it's night when we're going to bed. you know, but I will put that on to go to sleep with, and just to kind of relax. If I can't get to sleep right away, that's one of the things that I'll do. And I just love that. I love what you said about brain dumping. So everybody listening is probably going, there she goes again, another guest on talking about journaling. But I think it's so powerful. And the brain dumping is my biggest thing. That's how I learned to journal, was just like dump was in my head. What's on my mind? Sometimes it created me a to-do list of things I forgot to do that I knew I want to do. And I would keep that list, but then I would throw it away. It's like, I don't need it anymore. I dumped it. There's no reason why to bring it back in. And I would just throw it away. And I just love that you share that with everybody. And so before we get to your daughter and your husband, let's talk about being a caregiver. Like, it's hard. Like, my friend Sharon, I told you, she just lost her mom in December, I think it was, because of she just had gotten older, dementia. She had Lewy body disease. And so I watched her go through all that process of, caring for her mom. And I watched my mom. My mom cared for my granny years ago when she was getting dementia and Alzheimer's. And so tell me, like, how are you balancing that? I love that you manifested them being across the street. I think that's so amazing. And then, you're trying to balance family, business, self-care, and then your parents. So what do you do to put boundaries around yourself to accomplish that and help them at the same time?
That is always being tweaked. It's always being adjusted. Have I perfected it? No, but it's always in the forefront of my mind. How can I do better at this, at these boundaries? One is limiting my time. So my parents also have Alzheimer's, both of them, and not so much dementia, just Alzheimer's, just very forgetful. And they're going to watch this later too. So um it's just funny. But so to my mom will forget that she'll approach me with bills, and she'll do it all the time. Like, I need you to pay this one and this one. And so I like to say, we're going to do that on Sunday. We're going to do that on a certain designated day. You know, I originally, I was just dealing with it whenever she would present it to me. And that was making me kind of resentful and hostile. And I was like, I have these things I need to do. So and when she would present me with like, call this company, and I would end up being on the phone for an hour for her and then doing this. And I'm literally always on the phone making their appointments and dealing with all of the VA and all the things. And when I have to designate my time better. And I have to remember that the boundary can be set while still being kind. In the beginning, I would get really angry and frustrated. Like, why, you're taking over my time, you're blah, blah, blah. Now it's like, now it's not the right time to do it, but I'll come back tomorrow, And so time management is huge. Also, remembering to say calm, cool, collected, and kind. I go back to my little affirmations all the time, my breath work practices, my tapping. Like, my entire program is just all these little tools that I consistently resort back to all day long that just help me show up as a person that I'm proud of versus the times that I haven't been, so I learn. And the most important thing is to have grace with yourself. I called my studio Grace Studio because in this whole process, it's so important to have grace with ourselves through this and not to expect perfection and not to beat yourself up because you yelled at somebody, apologize, and then do better. Recognize where you had shortcomings. Have grace with yourself. Start over. Every day, I say this all the time, every day is your reset. Every day you can start over. It doesn't have to be New Year's. It doesn't have to be, April 1st, which is the real New Year. It could be right now, So that, I guess those were my main things.
I love that you shared too about and for many people who are listening, if you've got a family member that you're helping to caregive, I love, Leslie, what you shared about creating that day. Like, I can't help you today. We're going to do it on Sunday. Like, so that's so important because it's also, they may not remember, but at least you've set that boundary and I would rather repeat going, we're going to do that on Sunday versus the other that's, getting so stressed out and being like you said, stop your schedule and go do all this. And you go, oh, I didn't get nothing done on my schedule I wanted to get done today. Then you become frustrated, become mad with them.
It was happening every day. Every day I felt like I was just being hijacked.
Right.
That every day, like, I was spending 80% of the day doing whatever I had to do for them.
Right.
And then I'd come home and be like, I don't even know what to do now in my own life,
Right. So you were sharing that you have a brother. So have you been able to manage between you and your brother? Do you have support for you? It's a little different.
He lives in Texas and he has 2 special needs kids that require 100% attention.
Got you. Yeah, it's hard because everybody's family dynamic is so different. Right now, my mom, we talk about listening. My mom may listen to this. We have some concerns about her being on her own. And she's like, you're not going to move me from where I am. I'm like, we're not wanting to move you from where you are. We want you to be safe is what our goal, and so we're all scattered. I'm in Florida. My brother's in Nevada. My sister lives there, but her health is not great. So yeah, I'm glad you set boundaries. I want it. I'm going to remember that. I'm going to share that with anybody I know too, about creating a day to go, on this day, we'll take care of everything my family member needs taken care of, because I think it's really, really powerful. So now I'm going to get to the difficult one. And that is, how do you create boundaries and self care as a mom? So I always share the story that my sister in law, I went to go visit her and my brother one year. And she was like, come on, Sean's going to go put his clothes away. And he was only like 4 years old. He wasn't even in kindergarten yet. I'm like, he's going to put his clothes away? She's like, yeah, he's going to put his clothes away. Okay. I'm like, let me go see what happens when Sean puts his clothes away. And we went upstairs and literally he was putting him in the bottom dresser drawer. And she's like, listen, I know he's not going to fold him. He's not going to be perfect, but I'm teaching him how to take care of himself and understand that I'm his mom. I'm not his maid. And that this is a business that I'm running here. So that's why, Leslie, I call it CEO mom, because you're running. I don't know any mom that's used to be in my world called a stay-at-home mom that stayed home and ate bonbons all day long. Right. So we have things to get done, whether you're running a business, whether you're working full time and coming home and taking care of the family. And so oftentimes I shared earlier in the show is that moms feel guilty when they do something for themselves. Oh, my kids are going to think I don't love them. Oh, they're going to say I'm being selfish. So what do you do to create self-care around your daughter? And what are you teaching her? I know you said she's like 5 years old, but what are you starting to teach her now in some of what you do to put herself first?
Hmm. Well, I have been trying to teach her how to meditate, since she was 3. And just, listening to her breath. Um, and also saying only nice things to herself. You know, she said, things that are not nice about herself, like I'm dumb or whatever. No, 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 no. I don't even let it slip. So making sure that she has positive self-talk. Um, so my daughter likes to get up at 6:30. She is really an early bird. And so I I like to be that person that gets up at 5, an hour ahead, but I haven't been lately. I haven't been. So my self-care, is when she leaves for school. Then I'll usually go into right before my clients show up or right after my client leaves, my first one. I'll do movement and meditation and breath work of my own. Before, I do my client or right after. So those are self-care things that I do for her. She is so young. So I would say really, I love the CEO mom thing. I have been teaching her all those same kinds of, ideas for our house. She helps me clean up and take out the trash and do sweeping and laundry. She helps me fold. Her folding's not as very good, but that's okay. We're learning. And so I think it's funny. I was listening to a mom at the park the other day talking to another mom. She's like, "Oh, I do the gentle parenting and I don't tell my child no." And I was like, "Oh gosh, that's not me. I tell my child no all the time." um, so anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that, but
Well, I would say that in a few years, she's going to wish she told her child no.
I don't,
Just from
gosh, I don't even know
experience.
how to do that. I say no all the time.
And I think,
So
well, we could go down a whole nother conversation with that one,
yeah.
but I think that is part of the problem that our children suffer with is they've never been told no, so they don't know how to handle rejection. They don't know how to. The world's not perfect. It's not foo foo and butterflies all day long. And I love that you're teaching her that process of it, this is a team. We're this is a business. We're running the house together, and it's so powerful. When I grew up, that's how it was because my dad was in the Vietnam War. So my mom worked. So I helped with the chores around the house. My sister did too. My brother was much younger, but that's what we did. And it's not the old cliche of it's the ladies' work. It's not anymore. It's really a team. You're building a team. And so I love that you share that. And I love that you're teaching your daughter meditation. And I think that's really, really important, as we all know, and our listeners know that listening is that up until that like 8 years, around that 8 years to 10 years of age, that's what they learn is what they carry forward in their life. So you're teaching her an amazing tool that some of us women don't. I didn't learn until like 3-4 years ago how to meditate, and I'm taking care of myself. Yes. But meditating, I had no clue how to listen quietly with nothing on but my thoughts. Like if when I told Sharon when I started work, I'm like, you want me to sit in my quietness? Are you kidding me? Can I have music? She's like, no, not until I say you're ready. I'm like, okay, okay. Well, I fought it a little bit, but it's so, so powerful. And I loved it that you shared that. And so the next question, Liz, I have is, so how long have you been married?
Let's see. We were married 9 years.
Okay. So tell me what you and your husband, what's his name again?
Mark.
Mark. Tell me what you and Mark do for self-care when maybe you can't, you can't go out on a date. You've got, I know sometimes it's probably hard with your parents and, balancing those. But what do you do for something self-care with your hubby? And how do you incorporate that around your daughter, with the fact that you're raising a daughter, right? So in other words, I want to know, how do you find time and space for the two of you? Because you're taking care of your parents, taking care of your daughter, running a business. So what do you do to help you both with that?
Well, once we put her to bed, we really just spend that next hour connecting. We'll put the boob tube on, but we'll just sit there and talk, and that's our time to connect. And, as silly as it sounds, I try to we send each other memes, like funny little conversations, and jokes throughout the day. You do what you can. He got me this really great thing for Christmas a year ago, actually, that it's like one of those date night books. And so you can choose, if you want to stay home, if you want to go out, how much you want to spend, blah, blah, blah. And then he got me like a Polaroid camera that goes with it. And so then we take a picture of the date night that we did together. And it was just such a thoughtful gift. And so a lot of them are like, stay at home, yes, we want to, get messy. It could be, so you choose the thing together. And so we try to have fun that way. And I just wanted to go back to that thing about with my daughter and parents giving their kids chores and stuff. I think it's also really important and imperative, really, to make sure that your kids feel like they're a necessary cog in the family, you know what I mean? Like a necessary piece of the family. If they just feel like they're like a guest in a hotel, they're not going to be building self-worth. Self-worth comes from doing things, I really believe that. So I love that my husband and I are really on the same page. And we try to do a lot of stuff as a family. Saturdays and Sundays, we do Pancake Sunday every Sunday. Like that's,
Oh my God, my family does Pancake Sunday too.
oh, I love that.
They're all grown, but yeah, that was us. It was Pancake Sunday.
Yeah, I love that.
That's
So it's just,
awesome.
prioritizing each other, and you don't have to do anything crazy. We play a lot of games, and just spend time outside in the yard. We have a fire pit, we're pretty simple.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that those are the things you are doing. That is so powerful. So tell us, what do you have upcoming, and tell everybody how they can connect with you.
What do I have upcoming? So I have, let's see, the Mind Body Spirit Reset program. I am currently taking new clients, if anybody's interested. So it's for women primarily that are going through major life changes. So new baby, new job, new city, divorce, empty nesting, whatever, losing a family member, So any big transition in life. And really the whole purpose of it is just to kind of figure out who you are at this juncture in your life, to recognize any patterns that you have, to kind of recalibrate, to learn some tools. How can I self-regulate? How can I heal? How can I grow? What can I learn from being here? Like, how did I get here? Let's process that. Who do I want to be moving forward? Setting some goals, creating a vision of what that future is. And then starting, like a visualization practice, starting a manifestation practice of healing your stuff and then moving in the direction of your dreams, trying to get to a point where you're like, all right, I'm here now. Now figuring out, where do I want to go? So that's what I do. I also offer just meditations via Zoom, and they're all custom one-on-one. You just tell me what you're working on. They're usually just about a half hour long, but I guide you through that. Or I do just, movement sessions online with people to one-on-one. My style is kind of a blend of Qigong and Pilates, yoga. I love ballet. My degree is in ballet, so I love doing all the bar stuff. So it's just really whatever that person is looking for. So those are my offerings, movement, meditation, and, mindfulness practices. So That's what
Awesome.
I
And we'll make sure to put all the links, you guys, so you can follow along with Leslie and reach out to her. And so it's been so much fun having you on here
thank
today. But
you.
before we, yeah, and I just want to remind everybody, everything we've talked about today, I have what's called the Shiro League. And Leslie, it's for women that are looking for just support. We just come in and support one another. It's from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern time. You can be a mom. You don't have to be a mom. You can be married. You don't have to be married. Whatever, wherever you are in your life, you just want to be surrounded by women who are looking to put themselves first, looking to build their self-care, looking to celebrate their joy in the life, looking to overcome the challenges in your life. Whatever that is for you, we don't want, my goal is not let women feel alone. My background is that for many years, when we left Virginia to come to Florida, I put my kids first for so many reasons that I forgot who I was. And when it hit me that who am I? They're starting to grow up and they're going away. And I'm like, where am I at? Where's Pearl? And so that's where the Shiro League came from, because I found I wasn't alone. I wasn't the only one who thought I had to do everything. And my husband does like equal parts of everything. He does the dishes, I put him in the dishwasher. We clothes, laundry, everything. We're partners in everything. And that's how we raise our boys too, because we wanted to make sure our boys knew that the wife is not in charge of everything, that it's a business together that you're partners in. And so the Shiro League came out of that. And then it grew into our retreats. We do an annual retreat in September and we have 8 spots left. We're going to the Gulf Shores of Alabama. You hang out in your PJs, no makeup the entire weekend, September 14th to 18th. And we just work on self-care. We have great speakers. Spend some time on the beach, enjoying the Gulf Shores. And our house is such a gorgeous home right on the beach this year. So
That
I'm so
sounds
excited that you were
great.
with. Yeah, it's amazing, Leslie. We'll have to share it with you and check it out. But
Yeah.
it's hard. We get busy in our lives, and being a mom, running a business, taking care of our loved ones, and it can be hard. And we have to remember to reset and take care of ourselves. So I'm glad we talked about this today, Leslie. I think it's really powerful information that you shared, and I know everybody's going to reach out to you. And so Leslie's already been warned. We're going to do the cards today. So I'm going to shuffle the cards and she's going to tell me when to stop. So here we go, Leslie. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. Let's see what she has. Oh, so Leslie, your card says, "Where will I go from here?" So where are you going next?
To pick up my daughter. Just kidding. Um, I am Where am I going next? I see myself just growing in my business, just growing in my relationships, just at wherever I am in this moment, just building on this foundation that I've built. So, you know, I'm just going towards the light. I'm going towards love and peace and higher consciousness. And I just want to help as many people that I can. That's where I want to go. It's just to be of service. So
I love that. And everybody, if you're watching, if you're listening, you're not seeing it. But the one thing that I loved about having Leslie today is she has a beautiful smile, and you get to see the love she has for herself and for what she does. And so I hope you reach out to her, and I hope
thank
you
you.
connect with her, and when you watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about. But it's been amazing. I've loved
Thank
having you on,
you.
Leslie. You're welcome. And before we go, I want to remind everybody, I'm in Connecticut, so I don't have my oyster with me. So I'm going to use my hands back to the old days and remind you that you come into this world, you're this little oyster, you're a little sharp, rough on the outside, but on the inside, you are the inner pearl. And so I hope you go today and put on your cape and find your inner pearl of greatness. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, sunshine, good to see you again.